Thanks for everybody that are coming in now. We will get started here once I finish with some housekeeping items. Thanks for joining us. If you came in since the last time I was on, a few housekeeping items. Tonight is being recorded. We'll publish the recording on our council website, and we'll show you where you'll be able to find that information later this evening. If you have questions, please hit the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen in your Zoom taskbar. We'll get to them throughout the evening. For participants, you will not have access to your video or microphone. Just the panelists you'll hear this evening and see the presentations. With that, I welcome Michael Beck to start tonight's roundtable. Michael.
Thank you, Tyler, and welcome everyone to our Daniel Webster Council-wide roundtable for January. And we're going to have this kind of format hopefully every quarter-ish or so. So it's a good way to share information from the council to everyone. So glad you could all make it. And like Tyler said, we're looking at somewhere around 200 participants joining us. So a great forum tonight. Again, my name is Michael Beck. I'm your Assistant Council Commissioner for Roundtables. And we have a really great program for you tonight, some great speakers. Briefly, our agenda is we're starting off with Tyler Yankee, our field director, and Markins and Communications guy, who will talk about the Help Center. Then we have a Friends of Scouting presentation by our council chair for FOS, Chris Cooper. Next, we'll go to fundraising. What can units do? And we have our council development director, John Rainville, who's going to be talking to us tonight about that. Following John will be another John, which will be John Arico, our council commissioner. He'll be talking about council-wide initiatives and newer ones that we haven't even heard about. So I'm excited to hear what John has to say. And then we're wrapping that up with a discussion on Granite Base Camp presented by Derek Wirtz, our Assistant Scout Executive and Chief Operating Officer, along with Allison Beatty, our General Manager for Granite Base Camp. And lastly, we'll have some Q&A. So I think it's going to be a great agenda, and I'm looking forward to hearing all the info. So let's get started. And with our first topic, join me in welcoming Tyler Yankee, the field director and marketing and communications gentleman for the Daniel Webster Council. So it's all yours, Tyler.
Thanks, Michael, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us on another great, informative council-wide roundtable. Tonight, I have the pleasure of presenting a little bit and sharing some information regarding our new member care initiative with Daniel Webster Council. So with the recent restructuring of our council staff, we had to become creative and figure out what is the most efficient and effective way that we can deliver timely and thorough and knowledgeable service to our parents, our volunteers, and our scouts. So with that and some dedication to some of our board members for their assistance in developing the tool, we launched our Member Care Center with Daniel Webster Council. And I'm going to show you a little bit about what that is, how to access it, where to find the information this evening on the council website. I also want to take a moment just real briefly to thank the hard work of our member care team at the council. Was faced with many challenges over the last 2.5 months on change management and efficiencies. And a large shout out to Michelle Tickler, Josh Boucher, Dylan Croston, who heads up our AmeriCorps efforts that lend us a hand with some unit service stuff. This is a core group of dedicated staff that are very knowledgeable, each have expertise in their own areas, and we are challenged to provide quality service to all participants and constituents that are interested in scouting in New Hampshire. So we're really excited about the work we've done. Many of you have taken advantage of our help center, and we hope after tonight's presentation that interaction will grow even more. So to access the Help Center, many of you are familiar with nhscouting.org, our council website. I'm going to show you 3 locations to access how to get to our Help Center. And then I'll give you a quick review of what our Help Center is and what you can expect when reaching out to our member care team. So when you're on the council website, as you can see, this is the homepage. A lot of great information published here. If you haven't checked out our new COVID-19 resources, I'm just going to do a little plug for the website. Check out our COVID-19 resources. We released a lot of good stuff last Friday. But also, more importantly, too, are 6 little quick links here at the bottom of our page that are really important. One, the Presidential Membership Challenge on recruiting kids, an initiative by our Council President, Jim Steiner. Very exciting and engaging. You can learn more about that there. Also, every announcement that we send out, we also have it published on our website. You can review all of our latest announcements using this, but more importantly for tonight's exercise is the Daniel Webster Council Help Center. So we have it listed in 4 locations, 3 of which that I'll show you on your screen this evening. The first being one of our quick link cards. The second being down here in our council website footer. And third, and probably the easiest one to get to if you don't want to scroll, is the Help Center right here in the navigation bar. The 4th location, of course, is listed under our resources tab, where you can find all of the resources for volunteers and parents that we have available on the council website. So once you click into the Help Center, you're going to find our knowledge base. How we create our knowledge base articles is we take the questions that are fielded to us in our member care center, and we develop FAQs or knowledge base articles to help facilitate knowledge to others that may have the same question. So it does have a little search feature here that you could search your question and find any population of articles that have those keywords. But also we've created sections, and you can see here articles that we have listed, and we continue to grow those each week. So this is a great first resource if you're faced with a question that you just don't know the answer to first visit the Help Center. I review scouting knowledge base articles that are listed on all the discussion forums across the web to figure out what resources we can bring in addition to the questions that are asked from our membership base. And then if you still can't find the answer to what you're looking for, that's okay. We're here to help you. Over the last month, we've serviced over 450 requests into our member care center, and that grows by the dozens every week as our volunteers and our parents are using the system more, and we're very excited for that. To begin, if you wanted to reach out to us, you can do it 2 ways, and I'll put the email address in the chat. The first is you can email us directly, support@nhscouting.org. What you should expect once you contact our member care center, either through the online form that I'm going to show you here shortly, which you can see here. If you can't find what you're looking for, submit a ticket to our member care center. You hit the button, you're able to fill out all the categories here. It allows our team to identify who is the right resource to help you along to address your question. And you can see all the cues or all the topics that our team takes requests for service, and we're able to disseminate it out to each of the team members that have an expertise in these particular fields. So if you think how you've experienced service before our recent restructuring, you had a single funnel through a district executive or a unit serving executive. And our model now has been kind of a member care hub where our team works collaboratively across all departments. John Rainville in the fundraising department, Skip Chase in our program and summer camp department, our business office with Stephanie Crawford. We all work collaboratively on addressing every concern that comes in through our member care and through our emails and voice messages. So you can see here, quickly, easy, just address the topic of your concern, whether it's rechartering question or your membership record just isn't appearing correctly. Fill out the quick form that allows us to assign the appropriate individual with the expertise in that area to assist you. Same thing that happens in an email. So if you email us at support@nhscouting.org, you can put all the details of what your request is, things that you have questions about, resources that you would like to have more information about, changing your member ID in your My.Scouting profile, a wealth of pretty much anything you can think about, we're here to help with. So when you send that email or fill out this form, what you will expect to receive in return is a message indicating to you that we received your request for service and we're glad to help you, and we will be providing you assistance. In that request, you'll get your assigned ticket number. It's a 6-digit code. You'll get that. It'll indicate what is the particular request number that you'll receive. And that's a great reference point. We strive to resolve all tickets, answer all questions within 5 business days. There are instances where we've had to stretch that out to maybe 7 or 10 business days because it involves interaction on solving an issue with a volunteer or more information is needed. But our level expectation as a team is at least a 5 business day response time from the moment that we receive the message to the time that we're able to help resolve all of your questions and concerns. And the ticket number is a value because if you feel after a reasonable time, that 5 business day window, that we still haven't gotten to your ticket, we want you to reach out to us. You can submit a ticket asking for a status update. You can email us at support@nhscouting.org, or you can even just reply to the ticket confirmation that you receive asking for a status update. That allows us to make sure that we get to you in a priority fashion. And sometimes, you know, we have a series of tickets that we're working through that, you know, we just may not have gotten to. And we want to make sure that we're providing you the service that you expect and the knowledge to make sure that you're being able to get your answers to your questions. So we're committed to that as a member care team. I speak on behalf of our entire team that we're happy and here to serve. And we hope that you'll take advantage of these tools to reach out at any time with questions that you have. We've had several volunteers take advantage of this tool and I've gotten great feedback that it's been a good resource and hopefully that you'll have the same experience if you haven't used the tool yet. So that's our new member care model. That's the help center. What's to be expected of that. The same thing applies when you call the council office. Those voicemails we'll be able to receive and make sure that they go to the right person. So you'll get a call back and answers to your questions in a timely manner. I did mention briefly before I turn it back to Michael, and then if there are any Q&As, I will take a moment for those to be asked. But I wanted to also highlight where you can find our recordings for our roundtables or coffee with the commissioners. One spot, as you can see here, right here in the knowledge base, we have an article that addresses that question. If you were to click on it, which I'll do now, it'll pop up. It'll give you the answer or the resources that you're looking for to that particular question. And of course, this just asks you to click the redirect to go to our hub, where you'll be able to find all of our council meeting library. If you wanted to miss going to the Help Center to find that, just go up to the More button in our navigation bar, select Resources, resources here, and this will take you to our main hub where you'll be able to find our landing page with all of the great quick links to certificate of insurance, how to get your DWC license plate decal, but over here you can find the navigation for the resources page. So I'm gonna pause, address any questions if there are any, and then send it back to Michael to get the rest of tonight's presentations underway.
So, hey, Tyler, this is John. So one of the questions that we have in the Q&A is, should we be using the ticket system to request youth membership transfers or submit new applications?
Yeah, great question. So the short answer is you can, because you can email us at support@nhscouting.org and attach your application to the email, and we'll receive that. Of course, with any type of digital communication that involves applications, we want to be mindful of privacy and making sure that information is distributed from sender to receiver in a secure way. Our systems are secure, so I'm not concerned about that, but it is best practice to be mindful of the type of information that is being disseminated via email. If you wish to send scans of your applications to us, you can do so by attaching it to an email and sending it to support@nhscouting.org. Then our member care team will be able to download those attachments and follow up with you to let you know that everything has been received. To that end, phase 2 of our help center and our member care team will be rolling out a feature where we'll be able to track defective applications. Oftentimes we receive an application that may be missing an answer to a question, or may miss a signature or a birthday. This will give us the ability to reach out to the applicant, copy a unit leader and a commissioner in the ticket system, communicate with them that we received their application. We have a couple questions or things that we need to fix that are issues, and having it in that system will make sure, one, that you're getting the service that you need and you expect, but also to ensure that you have a trail that your paperwork and your items are being processed efficiently.
So the other thing, the way that applications can be submitted is through the membership portal that everybody has the ability, right? I'm trying to think of the
yeah, that's correct. In my.scouting and through beascout.org, every unit has the ability to accept youth applications as well as adult applications. For adults, you still have requirements to have your chartered organization sign off. However, in the fall of 2020, the BSA instituted some updates to the invitation manager and the BS Scout system that your unit is actually able to assign a chartered organization representative delegate. Of course, it's important that you have this communication with your chartered organization to have them approve assigning a delegate, but that delegate could be an active adult leader in your unit, and they could serve on fulfilling some of those approval roles that are required inside the digital format. All that's available, and you can configure acceptance of your applications, youth, adult, neither one or the other, right inside your invitation manager and beascout.org, located in my.scouting.
Yeah, and just so we're all clear too, right, Tyler? I mean, the adult applications should not be emailed and scanned and sent in because of some of the sensitive information that's contained in it. So it's probably more advisable that they be either hand delivered or mailed to the office would be preferable for adult applications. Based on some sensitive information that's contained on adult apps, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We all have the privilege of having access to that information when we receive the application. So it's important that we safeguard it just as we would expect others to safeguard our information. So that's a great example of the value of using the online application tool. Additionally, there's the ability to transfer applicants, and our member care team will be happy to help you with those. So please take advantage of the knowledge-based articles that help deliver some of this information to you. And if you still have questions on how to use those resources, please email us or fill out one of our support tickets on the Help Center, and we'll be happy to serve you.
And just to confirm, the council has turned on all functionality with respect to My.Scouting and the ability to accept new applications. However, because right now we're in the recharter mode status, the national office has temporarily suspended that functionality until all the charters have been entered, is my understanding. Is that not correct?
Yeah, historically there's been a changeover on a pause for online applications. In the fall of 2020, with everything going digital, it allowed for kind of a lessening of the changeover. Where you'll find issues is we're in the midst of processing, several hundred charters, all of various degrees of completion. So that's where you're finding some of the stopgaps and proper rosters being reflected on My.Scouting access into the Scoutbook system. So it's important that we continue to work timely and efficiently on processing the charters, so your features are available to you and reflect the accuracy of which you provided on the documentation. So those are some norms that we go through at the start of each year, but we anticipate that returning to normal very quickly.
All right, well, thank you, Tyler. Great information. So let's move on now to our Friends of Scouting Council Chair, Mr. Chris Cooper, for our FOS presentation. Chris, it's all yours.
All right, thank you. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and I know we're all excited about seeing Friends of Scouting in our units again. And so tonight we are going to go through the 2021 Friends of Scouting presentation, and I would encourage everybody here to consider giving tonight, and you will get credit toward your unit's goals by making a donation online. And this is going to be a chance to see how it's going to work in your units so that you know what to expect when the Friends of Scouting presentation group from your district contacts you and asks to set up a meeting. So the first thing we're going to do is we have a short 1 minute long video from the National Council about We Are Scouts. It's really a great reminder about why we're all here and why we're doing this and the challenges that we as Scouters can overcome even in years like 2020 with COVID.
Is everyone just being really polite, or am I the only one who doesn't hear the audio?
Cannot hear the audio.
You got to share your computer audio, Chris, from the view options at the top of the screen.
All right.
Right up at the top, where next to the green bar, there's a view options. If you click that, should be a option there to share your computer audio.
All right, should we try that again?
Let's.
All right, stop me sooner if you can't hear it. All right.
Right now, life has us keeping our distance, but there's never been a more important time to come together. Scouting looks a little different than what we're used to, sure, but across the country, Scouts are coming together to learn, grow, and serve even while apart, because that's what Scouting has always been about. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Our culture is one of perseverance and determination. Our foundation is that of always being prepared. When you think about it, we've been preparing for times like these for over 100 years. Because for the past century, we've been pioneers, adventurers, helpers, scouts. Nothing can stop us. We've got this. We are Scouts.
All right, so that was the message that to me is pretty inspiring about, kind of re-energizing why we're doing this, why we care so much. And when we talk to our families about Friends of Scouting, it's something that they want to hear as well. And they also want to understand, if I'm making this donation tonight for Friends of Scouting, how is that going to help my son or my daughter in their program? And so we've got a really short primer here on how the council runs and how your donations are used to help the council serve your children. And so to begin with, we're all familiar with our local units, right? We're all in the local units, whether they're Cub Packs or Scouts BSA troops or venturing crews. And we know those units have some great volunteers, adult volunteers leading those units, just like the families like all of you and like families that we'll be talking to as we give our Friends of Scouting presentations. But that's not the only people that have an impact on our kids. We've got volunteers at the district level, and we've got volunteers at the council level who provide a lot of information, training, and resources to our local units. And then supporting all of us are the council professionals, like we are hearing from tonight, who really play a great role in providing the professional services that we need to be able to run great units and great programs for our youth. So what does the council provide us exactly? Well, first of all, they provide amazing facilities, and I'm sure everybody on this call knows about Camp Carpenter and about Griswold Scout Reservation. We have a great summer camp program, and we're all really excited to hear about the news of the upcoming programs for this summer, live at Valley and at Bell and at Carpenter once again, and I know my son's looking forward to it. And then finally, we have a lot of activities that go on too, whether those are jamborees or Cub Scout events like Winter Carnival or the Granite Base Camp opportunities that we're going to be hearing about tonight. And to back up all of those, we have staff to help us, both office staff and staff at the camps that provide a great experience for us as unit leaders to get our questions answered and to get resources in our hands so that we can provide those to our families. And directly to our youth, whether those are the camp counselors or the rangers at the camp who provide such a great experience for our children during the summers. And actually all year round now. And then of course, there's also insurance, which is something that hardly anybody really spends a lot of time thinking about. But if we're following the regulations that the council lays out, our units are covered by an insurance policy, which really gives us a lot of peace of mind in that we can go and take kids out camping and not worry about things, down the road about insurance, because we know that we're following the rules and we're being safe and we're going to be covered. So there's a lot of things that the council provides to us. And of course that takes money. And in a normal year, we can look at how does the council raise money, and we see about half of that money comes in from fees for going to summer camp. A further 25% comes from foundations and investments in special events. And then there's kind of equal amounts that come from Friends of Scouting, donations from families just like yours and mine, and from product sales, things like popcorn or camp cards or pancake mix. And then there's a few other miscellaneous sources of revenue as well. Now, as you can imagine, 2020 was a hard year for fundraising, right? We didn't have youth at summer camp. it was hard to go door to door to sell popcorn. It was difficult to run a fishing derby or a citizens appreciation dinner where we would get a whole bunch of people together in a room. Obviously, those things weren't able to happen like normal. But I want to thank you and thank all of us for the fact that Friends of Scouting was able to go on. We were able to reach out to families still, and the fundraising that we did was equal to 2019. So we didn't see a drop in Friends of Scouting fundraising. And that's really a testament to the families out there all across our state who take part in it, and a real testament to the volunteers who put this on. Our Friends of Scouting donations fund a lot of great things. I mean, we talk about how the council spends money, but here's some concrete examples that we can look at and see of exciting things that matter directly to our kids, right? There's this big trailer that goes around. You can reserve to come into your community for an event and help with recruiting. Has all kinds of activities, including that Gaga Ball pit that's been added. And then there's things like improvements at camps, whether it's a new cabin that opened a year ago or so that your unit can reserve to go winter camping in, or the new courtyard at Valley that's been just completed in the last few days. I'm certainly looking forward to sleeping in new tents this summer at summer camp. So, you know, there's all kinds of things. The council makes some really smart and wise investments in things that matter to us. And that's how your Friends of Scouting donation can help. So what do I need you to do? So tonight and during your unit presentations, we're going to be asking to fill out pledge cards. Now, we're going to do these presentations remotely. We're not going to be having a presenter come to your unit because of concerns about COVID, but we're going to be able to deliver this presentation short and simple to your unit. We'd like to have a parent meeting where you can get your parents together to talk about what your plans are for summer camp. We can talk about Friends of Scouting, and you can just connect with your parents and get a chance to get feedback from them too, which is always a good thing. So if you go right now in the chat, John Rainville should have posted the link to the Daniel Webster Council giving page, and you're going to be taken to a website where you can make a pledge right now. Or if you want, you can make a donation using your credit card. Either way is fine. So unlike the past where an online thing had to give right now, this works just like a pledge card. You can pick pledge now and be billed later. You can ask to be billed 1, 2, or 4 times over the course of the year, and you can select the amount that you would like to donate. And then importantly, you can mark the box that says, I'd like this gift to be credited to either my district or my unit Friends of Scouting goal. And then in the box, simply type your unit, your district and unit information. So for me, that would be Arrowhead Troop 21. And if anybody doesn't know who to give to, you can always type that in. But of course, you can type your own unit as well, which is what I would certainly recommend. So at that point, actually, there's one more thing to show before I switch over to monitor how we're doing. So there are some gifts as tokens of appreciation to recognize your gifts to the council. We would like to give you, everybody who makes a donation or a pledge, a Friends of Scouting patch, Friends of Scouting 2021, Stronger Together, with a nice arch holding the bridge up, made of granite, and we're keeping Scouting Granite strong in the Granite State once more. And certainly for various giving levels, as we have in the past, we have a set of Friends of Scouting Council patches that are available. Giving at the $1,000 level will get you a ghosted out version of this patch and the whole patch set. This year we're featuring Cannon Cliff as our notable piece of granite in the state. You can get a gold bordered version of the patch at the $500 gift level, a silver version of the patch at the $300 gift level, and a bronze version of the patch at the $150 gift level. Now, I encourage you, if one of those gift levels works for you, please consider giving at that, because those gifts really go a long way to helping the Friends of Scouting cause and help us reach our goal. But any gift that you're able to give makes a difference. So if you can't give at that $150 level, I don't want you to walk away. your gift of $50 is just as valuable to us as well. Now, anybody who gives this year is going to be entered into a drawing for one of 2 Yeti Hall coolers. We gave a couple out last year, and we're going to give one out in February and one in April. And then finally, your units also have an incentive. So as we had last year, there are 2 different ways that your unit can earn an incentive. There's a 25% off discount for a district or council activity this year for your unit meeting your dollar goal. And there's also a 25% off discount that you can earn for achieving 100% participation, meaning every family in your unit has turned in a pledge. And yes, 2020's incentives that we earned last year will carry over into this year, because I know that we didn't have many opportunities to take advantage of those incentives. And so, we don't want to leave you high and dry. We will honor those during 2021. And so with that, I'm going to switch over and share my other screen. And we can look here and see donations. So this is the donation page. And already tonight, we've collected $923.07. And I want to thank you, those of you who have already taken a chance to give. One thing with this thermometer that will show progress is it won't show the donations. So this is actually, it won't show pledges. It will only show donations actually made tonight. But as the pledges come in, those will get added to your unit goal in the office. It just isn't able to be automated. But if you haven't had a chance to follow this link yet, I encourage you to. You'll pop onto this page and then you can just click make a donation. And it will take you here, and you can say that you'd like to pay by a credit card right now or pledge now and be billed later. Select how many times you would like to be billed. Enter your amount. And credit the gift to your district or unit Friends of Scouting info or goal and enter your info there. And then you're simply finishing up with your contact information. If you haven't already been added to the Daniel Webster Council email list, this is a chance for you to get signed up for all of the notifications and check that you're not a robot and hit submit. So it's that easy. We really hope that this is going to be a great way to reach your units. So I encourage you to work with your district staff to set up a time when you're going to have a parent meeting and invite Friends of Scouting to that meeting so that you can get this short presentation and get a chance for everybody to participate, everybody to support the council, and help keep Scouting Granite strong in the Granite State. And so with that, I'm going to stop the presentation. And are there any questions, John, that came in?
There is. On the unit incentives, the 25%, and then there's the another 25% if a unit gets over 100%.
Yep.
So does that mean that a unit can potentially save a total combined of 50%?
That is correct. Yeah. So if you reach both, if you raise your dollar goal and you have 100% participation, you can get 50% off, say, your district camporee, your fall camporee, or some event like that.
Yeah. So another question that's kind of come in is by indicating monthly, does the charge the amount you pledge, for example, $10 is that on a monthly basis? So I believe what he's indicating or asking is, if I want to pledge $10, is that my monthly pledge? So in total, by the end of the year, the contribution will be $120?
That is correct. And John Rain will hop on.
Yeah, I could feel that.
Correct me if I'm incorrect.
Yeah, just to clarify the language there, it depends on what you select as the answer to the first question. If you say, I want to pay now with a credit card, and enter your credit card information, and then you join the Granite Society by selecting make this a recurring gift, the amount that you enter will then be charged at the frequency that you select. If you select, Chris can bring that up for us, right? So if you select pledge now and be billed later, the amount that you enter is your total pledge, which will be split over the billing cycle that you select. So just like a traditional pledge card, if you select pledge now and pay later, if you select pay by credit card, that's where you have the option to make it a recurring gift of that same amount every month.
Yeah, so clicking this Granite Society part makes this your amount that's getting charged at this frequency.
Correct.
And there's a terms and conditions. It's actually not a super long legal document. It's relatively short and readable on explaining how that pledge, how the charging works. It's actually fits on one screen.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can certainly read that.
Yeah. Now, one of the other questions that's come in is if somebody doesn't want their donation to be known, can they make an anonymous donation?
John?
Yes, yeah. You definitely don't have to put in a name if you're, pledging by credit card. In the name part, it collects that in the payment section. And then it should be a box in there that selects whether or not you want your donation to be displayed once you collect it. Lost track of it, but it's here somewhere.
So now the other question that's come up with respect to Friends of Scouting is there going to be a community fund campaign again this year as well?
Yes. So the districts are going to be continuing the same community campaigns that they have in the past, reaching out to local businesses. And so if you as a scouter are not part of a unit, but would still like to make a pledge and have it go toward your district, you can just enter your district information here as well. And that would also help out your district's community campaign.
Okay. All right, great. That's all the questions.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Chris. Next, we have our Council Development Director, Mr. John Rainville, going to discuss fundraising. So John, it's all yours.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. I'm going to start this brief section of tonight's program by thanking you all in advance for your patience. As we've all experienced in our scouting world, things have been moving constantly on the fly throughout 2020 and even as we roll into 2021. And we found that to be the case with some of the fundraising vendors and supporters that we work with as well. So a lot of materials are very close to being released, but not quite ready to put on the screen in front of you tonight. So I'm going to give a brief overview of the primary council-sponsored fundraising options that are available to units tonight, so you know what's coming down the pike, and we will communicate those out in detail as the final details of each program become available in print for people to review. So thanks for your patience in advance. The first thing that I'd like to mention is that we will be working with Trails End Popcorn again for the 2021 campaign. They've offered some great tools for us to use that make selling safely and remotely an option. A good portion of our 2020 sale was actually online scout sales because of the pandemic conditions. And as we all know, that's persisting into at least the first quarter, maybe first 2 quarters of this year, and who knows. So we are going to enable a spring online only sale with Trails End. Information from that will be coming directly from Trails End to units that registered to participate last year. So watch your inbox for that. And we'll also be sending out communications as that sale gets organized with the product lineup and all the information for how to participate in that so that scouts can sell this first quarter or second quarter of the year when it may be difficult to get out and do any traditional fundraisers that your unit may take advantage of. So be on the lookout for Trails End online sale the first half of this year. The next program that we'll be launching is back to a camp card sale, a discount card that we'll be able to sell. And I say card in air quotes. I don't know if you can see my fingers there, but air quotes for a card, because what we're working on for the traditional spring sale of camp cards is an all digital card. Which will allow scouts to be able to conduct an online sale, very similar to the way that anybody who's participated in the online popcorn sale has worked in the past, with a platform that's built out for individual scouts to be able to reach out to their personal network, friends and family, using email, text, and social media to, ask people to support them in their scouting at the $10 price point per card to purchase a digital discount card. The other great benefit that we'll have with this program is that, in addition to some local vendors like we've had on our discount card in the past, going all digital allows us to build in a national retailer and vendor service provider program where discount codes will be able to be redeemed at a much broader array of service providers and retailers, including online. So that's going to be a huge added value to the card that we've never been able to offer before, which should broaden the appeal of the sale, statewide. There'll be benefits on there that people can use online no matter where they are, whether they're in Colebrook, Portsmouth, or Winchester, corner to corner there. So that's coming out soon, and we're very excited to be able to offer it in an online format, so that while we're still all experiencing difficulty in getting together in person, and perhaps meeting resistance from storefronts that have typically been willing to allow scouts to sell at a table outside or something like that. It may be a while yet before a lot of retailers are comfortable allowing that. So in place of that traditional sort of show and sell, which has been very successful for a lot of units, the ability to sell digitally hopefully will help. So those two things are coming out soon. Also in February, look forward to the return of the pancake and maple syrup sale with Fuller's Pancake. Our council commissioner has got some strong commitment from the folks up there to package up a program for us this year. And we're excited to announce that product line will expand from what was offered this past year, so that there will be some larger product sizes, both a full quart of maple syrup and a larger pancake mix, which we expect will be pretty popular. And of course, at those larger volumes, the return to scouts should be a little greater. So that's exciting news. And then on the other end, just to offer a low price point entry point, we'll be adding a maple sugar candy item to the lineup as well. So in about the next 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have that finalized with the order forms and how that sale is going to work. But that will be coming out very shortly for another option to sell this spring. And then finally, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we will be able to do a traditional fall popcorn sale, which trails in by the end of summer into fall. So we're operating under that assumption, but knowing that we do have the online sale component to fall back on if for whatever reason it doesn't look like that's going to be possible for us, but look forward to that. So those are really the 4 council-sponsored fundraisers that units will be able to participate in. And of course, we've had a lot of creative units out there, throughout the whole past year, really figuring out some ways to do fundraising at the unit level. Things that are not super face-to-face, where individual families as cohorts can take advantage. I've heard some examples of programs that allow scouts to collect a donation from somebody and drop it off at one central point, etc. So, I just mentioned that those types of things are still available to you if you need to round out your unit's annual fundraising program. But we do ask that you continue to submit a unit money earning application. And the quickest and easiest way to do that right now is through the ticket system at support@nhscouting.org. If you're able to scan that, or even take a photo and attach it to send it in, you could do that. and that will get through to us so that we could just give you any feedback that might be necessary on how to either safely operate the fundraiser or just make sure that you're in compliance with national bylaws and regulations when it comes to fundraising. So thanks for your cooperation on that. And I'll give a second here if there's questions popping up. John can help us moderate that.
Yeah,
You're
John,
muted, John.
Tyler here. I think I heard you right. The camp card will sell again for the $10 price point in 2021, but could you confirm the pricing again for this year's camp card?
That's correct. The $10 per card price point.
And then the second question we had on unit fundraising, which was a big success and a great way to get outdoors during COVID in early fall of 2020 is, will there be a hackathon in 2021? I see John Enrico anxiously waving his head, so in a yes direction. So.
Yes, absolutely. There will be a fall hackathon, so date to be determined. The other thing too is that the council also has provided some unit fundraising guidance under COVID, which you can find on the COVID-19 resource page on the council website. So there is opportunities for you guys. We have provided guidance, which we did work with in conjunction with the state on. So there is some guidance for under COVID-19 restrictions that we have provided to units as well. John, I did want to circle back with you real quick because I tested the mobile app real quick on FOS and made my contribution, and I did it doesn't show up, but it doesn't show up because I did a send me a bill. So my contribution doesn't show up in that mode. So the person who was asking whether or not can I make an anonymous donation, that could be one way that they can do it, which is pledge an amount, have you bill them, and then they turn around and send in a check, right?
Yeah, that's a great point, John, and thank you for that clarification, because there is a bit of a difference between a truly anonymous gift to council and a gift that you're allowing us to book under your name as a pledge and just not have the amount show on the fundraising page screen for your unit. So certainly, if, as John just pointed out, if you make a pledge, that is not captured under this donor page. You know, we're working with a platform that we had to sort of manipulate to match our traditional pledge cards. So it's not exactly a perfect system, but we've got it doing 99% of what we need it to do. And under the circumstances, we're pretty excited to be able to operate without the transfer of paper pledge cards and unit envelopes like we've done in the past, because we all know that, you know, it's going to be a while before we can get a large enough group of parents and scouts in the same place to have a really effective family presentation.
Yeah, just wanted to add one final thing. Thanks to Jeff Curlis in the Q&A chat. And I've made donations in the MobileCost platform as well before. There should be a feature that allows you to deselect showing your name in the list of donors. It'll include your dollar amount, but your name will just be listed as anonymous on the front end. So there are two ways to go about doing that. Just be mindful of the check boxes that are available to you. With that, turn it back to you, John, if you have anything else, and go there.
Yeah, no, I really don't. If we're done with the Q&A, I'll turn it back.
One more question that just came in. Is there a fee if you donate monthly?
Yes, there's a credit card processing fee, which you can either elect to pay yourself, or you could decheck that button and the council will absorb the cost of that processing fee. It's about 2.5% every time your card gets charged. So even if you are giving monthly or quarterly as a recurring gift, each time the credit card is processed, just like if you were doing it with a retailer, there is a credit card processing fee that goes through. You can either elect to pay it or you know, we'll gladly accept that cost in exchange for your contribution to support scouting in New Hampshire.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the credit card fee cannot be waived because that's how the credit card company makes its money. Right. So another question that's kind of come through here is, or actually, Chris, I see you're typing in an answer on that next Q&A.
Yeah, I could answer that live even if you want.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so Jill, I'm in the same boat. I do payroll deduction as well, which gets booked through. So what I did was I just made a pledge for the amount that I expected to give over the course of the year, and said bill me once. And then when you get the bill from the council, you can write on it that your giving is via your payroll deduction and send that back in, and they'll be able to process it there.
Great. All right. That's all the questions.
All right. Well, thank you, John, for update on fundraising. And next, let's turn to our council commissioner, Mr. John Arrico, to update us on some council-wide initiatives. John, the floor is yours.
So the first thing I want to do before I get into the presentation is I need to thank a couple of people who have worked really, really hard over the past 5 to 6 weeks. And that is the district and unit commissioners who really kind of did a phenomenal job this year with respect to recharter. About 4 to 6 weeks out, the unit commissioners and the commissioners got thrown a little bit where, they had to step it up and do a lot more work than they have typically done in a recharter process. I also want to thank the units who really kind of helped to make their lives easier by completing the charter on time and having the paperwork that's available and everything else. I can't tell you how much that really does help out in terms of having everything in order. So thank you to the great commissioner team that was out there. With that, what I'm going to go ahead now is go ahead and get started. Oh, one more thing. With respect to the charters, typically the time frame for those that they should be entered by the end of February. And they are currently being worked on right now and being entered into the system. So the one thing that's going to hang it up, and I'm going to be completely honest with everybody out there, is that if you have an individual that you have chartered and they do not have a current youth protection training certificate, that will hold up your charter. If you have outstanding criminal background checks that were requested as part of the recharter packet, that's going to hold up the charter, and that's going to go into the hold pile. And all of those issues are going to need to get resolved before February 28th in order for that charter to be processed. I'm going to tell you, you don't want to go past February 28th, because at that point in time, you go into what's called a dropped unit status. And we're not going to go there because that just means more paperwork for everybody. So with that, though, I am going to go ahead and share my screen. And one of the things I want to talk about here tonight is youth retention and recruitment. And what are some of the council initiatives that we have undertaken? The first thing I want to do is introduce the team that really worked hard on putting together some of the ideas that you're about to see here. We had a retention team as well as a recruitment team, and that team was really made up of all volunteers, and we did have professional staff advisors who did oversee us. We had people that were not just on the board of directors for the council, but we also had unit leaders also participate. So for example, Brian Savigny from Troop 5, Amy Harrison from Troop 22, I believe is the new number, Brendan Hoke from PAC 56, and then Danielle Beatty from PAC 613. So we had representation from the various units. And really kind of what the purpose of this team was to provide recommendations. And our purpose was not to solve, but to provide recommendations to the board of directors of the Daniel Webster Council on how to best allocate some financial resources in terms of how do we attract more families to the scouting program? How do we improve youth retention to 80%? To provide perhaps some financial assistance to families and units due to COVID-19, because let's face it, a lot of units just did not have the capability to do fundraising either last spring or in the fall. The expansion of Granite Base Camp. Granite Base Camp was something that was introduced last summer, and it was a great success for us. And so one of the things we looked at was, is that something that we can expand beyond just being a filler for last summer, but something that we can then expand upon and make a full year program out of. And then can we address gaps in underserved areas and then provide some improvements to some of our council related programs? You know, one of the challenges, and I think a lot of us kind of hear this from often, which is if it takes a village to raise a child, then, and we had to ask ourselves a couple of questions. How can scouting be part of their village? How can we keep youth in the program? And how can we recruit new youth in the program? And so what it means is basically when you take a look at that, is what does it mean to be a scout today? And that was the question that we had to ask. You know, just some data that I wanted to be able to share with you as well is where were we from a fall recruitment? And this is probably to no one's surprise, all right? And this data is as of November 2019, but generally at the end of the year, we were about 80 to 81% below where we were a year ago in terms of fall recruitment. And again, that is to nobody's surprise. And this is something that not just the Boy Scouts of America is faced, but a lot of other organizations have as well because of the COVID-19 impact. You can kind of see that from Daniel Webster Council's perspective, we are no different than some of our other councils that are out there. You know, Spirit of Adventure is right next door. They were down 80%. Narragansett, 85%. Nationally, we're down 82% in terms of membership. So now one of the things I mentioned was recharter, and you know, and the question is do we have an idea as to the number of youth that we lost as a result of inactivity and COVID-19? And the answer is yeah, we actually have a pretty good estimate as to where we are. We know that as of right now, we have definitely lost 2,000 youth through recharter. We also know that we have lost another 360 youth because the units have elected not to recharter and go forward. So we know that as of today, we have confirmed 2,362 youth will no longer have the opportunity to receive the promise of scouting. At risk right now, we still have some units that we're still working with, I believe 10. Most of those units are post. We have one troop and I believe 2 packs that we're still working with. So there's 93 youth that are currently at risk. So we have the potential right now to lose almost 2,450 youth here in the Daniel Webster Council. You know, again, it's no surprise. You know, we've already gone through it. I'm going to actually skip this slide, but the current state is that recruitment this past fall was extremely difficult for everybody out there. And we recognize that it was a great challenge for us. Just to kind of give you a little bit of also historical background in terms of where we were here in Daniel Webster Council from a membership perspective, you see 2 lines. The red line is really kind of the optimum level where it really makes sense for us to operate and have staff at certain levels. And that's at about that 8,000 level in total youth membership. You can see that right at that arrow, right about that point in September 2019 is where our membership here in Daniel Webster Council started to dip below that optimum level. And a lot of that, some of that was changes in membership. Some of it was driven by the fact that the national office has increased fees 2 years in a row. You know, some of it is a result of losing some of our Latter-day Saint memberships. You know, for us, that was a 3% hit to our membership. But the reality of in some cases, like out in Utah, it was absolutely huge in terms of the impact that occurred. Now, I did bring up in here, I do show national fees. You know, last year, one of the things we did this past recharter season is waive our insurance fee for this past recharter season. But we also said, and I hope everybody remembers this, we said that it would be put back in place in the next recharter season. It would be and it will come in at $8. So just so everybody knows, that was out there in an email that we did list. I would tell you also that you need to expect that the national fee will again increase this year. The national office has not provided us with that level of information, but you need to be planning for it today. So when you look at those fundraising opportunities that John Rainville talked about, be it the popcorn, be it the maple syrup and pancake mix, be it the hackathon, the cards, those are all things that you're going to need to, you really need to take a serious look at and say, how do I make that happen this year if we have somewhat restricted? Because it's a fact. Some of the other things that we looked at too, was Cub Scout membership. And for the most part, for us to be able to operate again is 4,000. And why is that 4,000 number important? Because it's important in terms of the viability of our Scouts BSA units. If we don't have good, strong Cub Scout membership levels, then our Scout BSA units will suffer. Now, are they going to suffer immediately in the next year? The answer is probably not, but they are going to start to feel it in about 2, maybe 3 years because of the lack of crossovers that do kind of bridge over. And again, in what I have highlighted there, we did have an increase in membership, and 2016 was when the Lion Cubs were introduced into the program, and that brought 600 new youth to us. Some of the things that we heard from PACs in terms of areas where we can improve upon is help PACs with recruitment and actively recruit at the district and council level. Increase visibility of scouting nationally as well as locally. And one of the things I have been seeing a lot more of lately is where the units at the local level are submitting good things that they're doing, good deeds that they're doing to their local papers. And we're seeing that more and more. And the more that you can do that at the local level is going to be an absolute help in terms of being able to show the public that Boy Scouts is relevant in today's society. Why do people leave at the Cub Scout level? Well, they basically left almost 30% said they left because of poor leadership at the Dan or PAC level. And another 25% roughly outright lost interest in terms of the program. So again, it's really important that we have trained leaders. It's really important that our leaders know what they're doing. And it's really important that if they need help, raise your hand and ask for help. Scouts BSA, again, the optimum level that we need to be operating at is right around 2,800 Scout BSA members. And as you can kind of see right now, at the end of July 2020, we've dipped below that level, and we're going to dip below that again once we kind of complete this free charter. The expectation is that, I didn't mention it at the Cub Scout, but we only expect to retain about 50% of our Cub Scout at the Cub Scout level as part of this recharter process, and we only expect to retain about 75% at the Scout BSA. One of the advantages that the Scouts BSA units had over Cub Scouts is that they were much more adaptable to be able to operate and function and run activities under COVID and the COVID restrictions. Again, some of the same things that you hear, but the biggest thing is better publicized scouting with marketing and advertising campaigns. And that's something that you're going to see. Why do members leave? Almost half of them leave because they earn the rank of Eagle, and then another 40% leave because they aged out. So generally, what it told us is that if we can get youth at the Scout BSA level, they stay, and that we're able to retain those youth at those levels. Venturing is not a significant number here in the Daniel Webster Council. We probably combined, we were probably just under 400. We'll probably be well under 300 by the end of this recharter season, if not closer to 200 by the time we're said and done. Daniel Webster Council, in terms of where are we on retention, we're actually better than the national average on an overall basis. The national average is 71%, and we're right around 77, 78%. So we're better than the national average. And I suspect that we'll probably be a little bit better in terms of a lot of other councils in terms of when we finish this recharter season as well. and just a little bit of, 60% of all councils are below 70%. So that kind of tells you the strength that we have here in the Daniel Webster Council and the quality of that we have in terms of our leaders and the units that we have out there. So one of the recommendations is that this team made. They basically broke it down into 5 categories. They broke them down into membership, Granite Basecamp, program, brand initiatives, and other. And so I'm going to go over now, I'm going to go through some of these initiatives with you guys. The very first one, and a lot of you guys saw the very first initiative as you guys were doing the recharter process. And that was basically full DWC 2021 insurance waiver. We estimated that is going to cost about $54,000 that the council funded. And if you're wondering how did that money get funded, that money basically is we are drawing out of our endowment in order to cover those funds. So we're returning that to you guys. Granite Basecamp is something that you're going to hear a lot more of from Derek and Allison after I get done talking. But part of that is we have to finish building out some of the IT infrastructure, and that was going to be about a cost of $29,000. That's an initiative that we are actually doing in conjunction with Spirit of Adventure as well as Narragansett. The final part of this first initiative is that we want to develop a home-based learning initiative. And again, that's also going to be part of Granite Basecamp. There will be a fee that's certainly charged there. But again, there's a lot of individuals today that are being homeschooled. And so again, Allison's going to get into Granite Basecamp. I'm not going to get a lot into this. But this first initiative, basically, the board has allocated $238,000 for these first few initiatives. In terms of some of the other initiatives, and this is one that directly affects you at the unit level, and this is a recruit a friend, and we will cover the joining fee in 2021, retain the youth at recharter, and the recruiter gets a $25 reduction in their 2022 charter fee. So for example, I'll use my son because it's a lot easier if I use real names versus fake names. So my son JP goes out and recruits a scout into his troop, and he has recruited little Brian Doe for help here. So Brian, that joining fee for Brian, we will cover. And if you retain Brian as part of the recharter process at the end of the year, you will also get another $25 reduction in as part a credit on your charter fees for next year as well. There will be a Cognito form that we are developing. And so the responsibility for you to submit this information will be the unit's responsibility to submit it to us for approval. And that form we will be providing and it will be posted up on the council website. Mobile Basecamp. One of the things Chris showed earlier was the mobile Basecamp trailer. And one of the great things is every single time that trailer went out this past fall, we were able to sign a new member into scouting in the current year. Now, one of the things we want to do is include some additional, really upgrade some of the contents that are currently in it. And so we're looking to spend $10,000 on upgrading the contents of what's in Mobile Basecamp, in the Mobile Basecamp trailer. Granite Basecamp, again, this is something that, again, Allison and Derek will go over, but basically our objective is to be able to provide program every single weekend for our members. Create a try before you buy program. And this is something where, again, this will also be part of a Granite Basecamp as well, but it's to develop den meeting kits to show how the program can work. And it's for those individuals who aren't quite sure whether or not scouting is for them. And so this gives them an opportunity to do a try before you buy type program. This is actually going to piggyback real nicely in terms of the AmeriCorps grant that we received last year, and will help us in underserved areas of New Hampshire as well. This next thing is really exciting. So I know some units, and I know I was talking to one unit recently who they're actually receiving 15 crossovers, I believe, at the end of this month. And so here's the nice thing is those 15 will each get a $25 discount if they attend GSR this summer. So whatever the camp fee is, you know, let's just say hypothetically say it's and it's not this fee, okay, guys, $100, they'll get a $25 discount. They would have to pay $75 just for simplicity. So that is a nice little bonus for the for all the crossovers who are going to be crossing over in this upcoming year. Mobile base camp trailer. So what we're looking to do is add a second mobile base camp trailer at a cost of $35,000. And again, and the reason for it is why. If any of you have tried to rent or not rent, reserve the mobile base camp trailer, sometimes you run into the fact that it has been booked. And my understanding is that it gets booked quickly and often. And so what this is going to allow us to do is to be able to serve more units, more communities by having a second mobile base camp trailer. Year-round shooting sports and also Cub Scout Adventure Weekend. You know, right now this is under the category of program, but this will fall under Granite Base Camp as well. But you know, we want to be able to provide year-round shooting sports for all of our members, and then a Cub Scout program that ties activities to advancement, and that's something that we're really excited about as well. Membership coordinator. This is one of the when we did the reorganization of the council positions and roles, one of the things that we said was that we were going to have a dedicated membership coordinator. And when we looked at what was originally budgeted versus what reality is, we said there is no way we're going to get a qualified person who's going to spend 365 days a year on membership, working with our units, working with in our districts. And so we felt that we needed to up what was originally put in the budget for that individual. One of the things we want to do also, and this is program related, is we want to be able to run Weedlow's Woods outside of camp. And we want to be able to offer that at least once or maybe even twice a year. But you know, not everybody is able to go to camp. One of the interesting statistics that we recently saw is that when we look at our Cub Scout population, only 25% of Daniel Webster Council's Cub Scouts actually go to camp. That means that there's a large population of our Cub Scouts who are missing out on opportunities. And one of those opportunities is obviously Weedlow's Woods. So we want to be able to provide them that opportunity. The other thing that we also suggested is, and you know, for some of the old timers, I believe it was called the first year program. For some of the ones who aren't as old as me, you know, it's been renamed to the Frontier program. And that's where a lot of your new scouts who join Scouts BSA, they're able to kind of get a lot of their early rank or a lot of rank advancement type stuff done in like second class, first class, those types of areas. And so what we're looking at doing is offering and running 2 Apex related weekends. That would obviously be in the spring. Not sure we'll be able to get it done this year because of COVID, but you know, we're going to certainly try our hardest. And really kind of what that does is it allows these scouts to then be able to go to summer camp and basically be a scout like everybody else. They already are a scout, but then they can work on the merit badges in the morning like the rest of their peers are doing, and then go in off and do this afternoon program. And so the cost of this initiative is about $25,000. Collaborative council-wide programs, such as Klondike or Chuckwagon or Scout Olympics or Scouts Greatest Race, or how about having a Daniel Webster Council orienteering race? And one of the things is that this would absolutely do is obviously the more activities that you have and the more fun that you can show, this is going to help in terms of retention. And it's also going to help in terms of some of those districts who struggle with being able to put on activities in their districts. This cost is about $20,000. The final set of initiatives, it really is around brand initiative. And, you know, it's to nobody's surprise that over the last several years, we have taken some hits. We have taken some hits as a result of the bankruptcy that the Boy Scouts of America filed last year. We've taken hits as a result of the sexual abuse claims. And so one of the things we have to do is we have to get out there and we have to have a locally developed, and when I say locally developed, I'm talking a council developed program in terms of how we're going to better market scouting here in New Hampshire and really to kind of change the perception of what scouting is. And that is about $140,000. Now, there is another, and I'll actually, I want to do that last. So in terms of what does all this mean funding wise, this basically means that the board for the Daniel Webster Council has allocated almost $770,000 to cover all of these initiatives. And it's really about in terms of improving our membership, helping our units with membership, helping to offset some of the cost to join scouting today, and to help improve our brand here in Daniel Webster Council. And so one of the things you might be saying to yourself, okay, well, when is all this going to happen? A lot of it has already started. So for example, the first set of initiatives, we began that on November 18th. On November, in or around that time frame, we announced that the Daniel Webster Council insurance fee was going to be waived for this upcoming year. Now, that whole block of initiatives in that first section, again, we expect to have that all completed by March 31st. And then a lot of these other initiatives, they're going to run concurrently. And so some of them have already started, some of them will start a little bit later. But at the end of the day, all of these are going to be started and moving forward here shortly. And some of these will last the entire year. Now, some of the other things, we did do some other recommendations. And one of the recommendations that we have made to the budget committee is that, you know, as of right now, if you attend camp, or if you have, let me just throw a number out there, say 7 youth go to Camp Carpenter. Right now, I believe you're allocated 2 free adults that can then attend. But you might have a third adult who wants to attend. And so there's a fee for that third adult. And typically what has happened is those adults have to pay the full fee. Now, some units, what they will do is they will take that fee, divide it up, and then those 3 individuals all kind of share and pay that cost. And so our recommendation is that we reduce the adult leader camp fee, and as a result, you know, let's take cost out of the picture, because we want our kids going to camp, we want our adults to be able to go to camp, and we want to try to reduce some of the barriers in terms of why perhaps we're not getting some of the numbers at camp that we really can be getting. As I mentioned, only 25% of our Cub Scouts actually attend summer camp. I didn't mention Scouts BSA, but I will give you that number. It's 49%. 49% of our Scout BSA members actually attend summer camp. So there's a lot of room here for us to be able to give our kids a really good experience. The last item on here, and this was also approved by the board, is the construction of a shower house for our families at Camp Carpenter. And so the current budget for that is $150,000. That is all of the presentation. Now, one of the other things I do want to, I need to stop share. Okay, so the other thing I do want to share with you real quick is that our president of the council has issued a challenge to everybody. And I hope you guys can kind of see that. I will bring it as close as I possibly can. But this is a president's challenge coin. And basically what he has done is that he has challenged any member, any youth who goes out and recruits 5 new members will receive this challenge coin from the president of the Daniel Webster Council. So that kind of gives you a look as to what that looks like as well. So I know that was a lot and to cover, and I know we're going to go over in time, so I apologize, but I hope you guys see that we're really trying our best to give you guys what you need in terms of out there and recruiting.
Thank you, John. Great information. Okay, and our final presenters are going to be Derek Wirtz, our Assistant Scout Executive and Chief Operating Officer, along with Allison Beatty, who's the General Manager of Granite Base Camp. It's all yours.
Great, thanks, Mike. And John and Phil, thanks for all your help and engagement in the Recruiting and Retention Committee. And a big part of the outcome of that has led us into the Granite Base Camp project that Allison and I have been involved with for the last several months. So officially, I would like to introduce to everyone Allison Beatty, who is the new General Manager of Granite Base Camp, operating primarily out of Camp Carpenter with some satellite programs happening at Griswold Scout Reservation, and then other areas throughout the state with our mobile base camp trailers as those things get developed more. So in just a moment, I will turn the program over to Allison to give you an idea of what to expect in the near future and long term for Granite Base Camp, and to help you understand what to expect, what programs are there, and our philosophy behind that. But before I get to that, one of the hallmarks or staples for Granite Base Camp will be the adventure card, which is basically a loyalty card for you so that you can have the opportunity to participate in as much programming as you possibly can through Base Camp. The cost of that card is $48. That will give you access to significant free programming throughout the year, as well as discounts to some of the premium programming that will be offered. And Allison will give you the designation of what some of those things are. And all of this is on a website that you'll be able to visit and get lots and lots and lots of information later on tonight after she talks. So additionally, with the adventure card, there will be some significant savings based around summer camp. The camp fees will be announced coming up very soon from our budget committee, and I can assure you that if you do have a adventure card for base camp, that will also be a reciprocal to summer camp for some discount off of your camp fee this summer for resident camp and day camp. So Allison, I'll turn things over to you to talk with us about what we can expect in fun and exciting opportunities at Granite Base Camp.
Thanks, Derek. John, I'm a little nervous. I'm pretty sure you said Granite Base Camp about 47 times. So my to-do list is like, it just grew every time you brought it up. Also, I know you know how to say Beatty, but somehow Danielle's name became Beatty. Come on. I'm just kidding. All right. Hi, guys. I'm Allison. A little bit about me before I talk so much about Base Camp. I've been working for the Spirit of Adventure Council just south of us in the Eastern Massachusetts, Boston area council for the last 3 years. I started as a camp director for 2 summers, and then I went on year round and opened an indoor scouting facility 6 months before we went into quarantine. Since then, I have taught 23 consecutive weeks, starting in March, running through up to Labor Day, of merit badges to kids all over the world. And so I'm very comfortable with the scouting curriculum. Now, what we're going to do with Granite Base Camp is we are going to take this really awesome scouting curriculum and we're going to open it up to the public. So that's really the goal of the Base Camp model of running a program. We started online. I've already started online on starting January 6th. I had my first online merit badges. I believe so far, including tonight, I have run 6. merit badges since January 6th, and served, they're not individual, like separate, but I've served about 80 kids so far in this process, which is really exciting. We will also be running weekend events. We're going to start this season and the spring season with two-ish a month, I'm sorry. So we are coming up, we would have been open on the 16th, but because of the pause, we were not. So we have dates on January 30th, February 6th, and February 13th. February 6th is up at Griswold. So those of you who are in the North Country and would prefer to check out base camp in that way, we'll be at Griswold. The program is all winter based. And so that's the cool thing about how base camp programming works. I love this scouting curriculum. It is so rich and so vibrant, and so many more kids need access to it. And so everything that I offer through Granite Base Camp, and I say I, but it's only I right now because it's going to get bigger, but anything offered through Granite Base Camp is tied back to the scouting curriculum. So while we're opening this curriculum to the public, scouts can come and earn advancement, and that's Cub Scouts and Scouts BSA Scouts. So for example, the winter program involves ice fishing, provided we have safe ice, skating. I just borrowed, I think, 30 pairs of skates from Spirit of Adventure because they don't have ice this season. So we'll use their skates, and then I'm going to run a skate drive from basically as soon as winter is over all the way through the year. And there'll be an incentive for that. If you donate a pair of skates, we'll work on getting you a code for someone for a day program to come to base camp. Things like that. We're going to help you out. So skating, we'll be offering, sorry, I lost my train of thought. So skating merit badge will be offered. We'll also be offering curling. How often do you get to go out and curl, right? I'm excited because I get to make curling stones in my garage. I'm a dork. And so we're going to be offering curling because that's a sport. And guess what? That sport could tie to sports merit badge, but it also can tie to the Weeblo Sports Adventure, as well as Games Tigers Play, as well as running with the pack. If you come and you experience ice fishing out on Long Pond at Camp Carpenter or up at Griswold, that you could complete almost all of the fishing merit badge while you're out there learning to fish. So my goal is to take this really awesome curriculum and open it to the public, but make it easy for you to access it as well. And then, like I said, it brings in other people. So we can use Basecamp as a recruiting tool, because what happens is that whole try it before you buy it that John was talking about, that's what Basecamp is. You come and you test it out and you enjoy it. And as Derek said, we're working on a collaboration with Narragansett and Spirit of Adventure Councils, where we will have a back-end procedure that if you sign up for a day at Basecamp, then you might get text messages or emails saying, hey, I know you came to ice fishing day, or you came to the winter program, you might be interested in this spring program, so that we can continue to get people to keep coming back. So to talk about some camp things, we are running a February camp. February camp is going to be capped at 60, so that I can only have 80 people on the property right now at a time. And they will be in cohorts. So age group, groups of 10 kids, age group as best as possible, so that we can keep them safe. And from an exposure perspective, we know who they've been around. And then they will travel to areas, but mostly they will be managed by their den leaders. We will also have summer camp. We are running 7 weeks of summer camp at Camp Carpenter. That's day camp. On top of what Mark Hamill and the camp directors at Camp Carpenter are offering. We are working in concert with them. I'm so excited to get to work with Mark. We're offering 7 weeks of day camp at Camp Carpenter, and then 4 weeks around the state. So 11 weeks of day camp available both to scouts as well as to the public. Starting in April, we'll be offering public clinics also based on the scouting curriculum. So if you want to get better at archery, then we're going to work on having an archery clinic. So think like dance lessons. You go once a week for a few hours. That's not a good one because those dance people go like 4 times a week for 4 hours. But something where you go once a week for a couple of hours and you learn something, and then you come back for 6 consecutive weeks. That's what the clinics will look like. And then, as John talked about, we will be opening a forest school program in the fall of 2021. As part of my work at the Spirit of Adventure Council, I am the lead educator in the middle school program at their forest school program. I am loving it. I want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing in terms of, so you can see how this would work. Also based on the scouting curriculum, my unit right now, which runs the January and February, it's a 3-day program. So we have the kids Monday through Wednesday. And so we are using the game design merit badge, as well as American heritage, Indian lore, but I don't like to call it that, so I call it Native American studies. And other and then a bunch of the craft badges, so leather work, wood carving, pottery, pulp and paper. And then we are using all of that to study history through game design. Our essential question is, how are the values of a society able to be determined through the games that they play? Tying that into the Massachusetts State Social Studies curriculum, the kids are doing research papers about a variety of societies based on what the state standards are for social studies. And then they are going to be able to extrapolate the values of those societies out and build games around those values. And if you think that games aren't tied to values of a current time, the Game of Life came out in the mid-50s, 1956, in order to encourage women to go back into the home and to fill their station wagon. That is documented information about the Game of Life. That I have like 100 facts like that about games and how they do tie to the history and the values of a current society. So that's how we take the scouting curriculum and we tie it into a school curriculum. We at Spirit of Adventure, we also have a lower school. They are running a K-4 program. That's at about 30 kids. They're in their third year of this iteration of the program. And with COVID, that helped a lot. A lot of kids weren't looking to go back into a traditional school, or they weren't looking to be worried about going remote. And so that helped grow the population. I know that we are working with the state's largest homeschool collaborative to connect with them around this program, and we'll be doing that in the spring once I get my feet just a little wetter. So that's a lot about Granite Base Camp. And Derek talked about the adventure card. The adventure card's really exciting because it's going to take a percentage off of your camp fee every week. So if you go to resident camp, and that's great, you get a percentage off there, or a fee off there. But if you also take advantage of day camp programming, you get that same fee off every single time. So you could make, your fee back over and over and over again. Also, weekend programming, once you have an adventure card, is free unless it's a premium program. And we're working within the council, and I am learning what the council could offer for premium programming. And once we are able to do that, we will be promoting those. So it will be a discount off of premium programming. An example that we use in Spirit of Adventure for premium programming is there's a high ropes course there. That would be a premium program. Instead of charging a regular day fee, there's an extra fee. And it's usually like a $45 fee, but you still get a percentage off with your adventure card. Badges, online badges, and in-person badges, when we get back to those, would have a percentage off, as well as those in-person clinics. And we'll be adding those all the time. Also, your adventure card, as Derek said, is reciprocal for Spirit of Adventure Council and Narragansett Council, because we all offer something a little bit different. So for example, units haven't been able to do their swim tests at camp school. Well, camp school, at camp. And so at Spirit of Adventure, they have an indoor pool, and you could schedule a time for your unit to go down in small groups right now because of COVID. But once we're beyond that, you could schedule a time for your unit to go down and take your swim test. You could do that in February or January versus having to wait till camp time. So there's a lot of value in the reciprocal pieces of this as well. I talked a lot. Are there any questions? Yeah, John.
Oh yeah, there's questions.
I'm sure. I'm not. Yeah,
You
I can
ready?
look at this too. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. And just to make sure that I pronounce it right, Allison Beatty. I'll get it. Don't worry.
Like Warren, but it's spelled different.
Between you and Danielle, I'm going to be shot. Okay. So, all right. Blue cards as it relates to merit badges.
Sure.
How are blue cards working for online merit badges?
So the ones that we've already taught in January will be done by hand-ish. To be honest, I'm trying to find the best system that's going to work for this council. I'm working with Skip, Chase, and Val in the office to try to come up with a system that works well. If they've already taken a badge, they will get a partial, if it's not done, a partial, and then they can reach back out to me as long as they want to turn in work. Because I'm taking this all on right now, the partials are a little bit further behind than I'd like them to be. I'll admit that one. But coming up soon, I should have some time to get out the blue cards that are already that have already had time to turn in their homework. So that's actually only Citizenship in the World, which doesn't have homework, and then Citizenship in the Nation, their homework was due today because I taught that last Wednesday. And so I'm really not that far behind. And then so the ones through January will definitely come by hand. We're working on an electronic system, hopefully for those that are taken in February.
So
forward.
And as it's still on merit badges, as it relates to prerequisites, will anybody be sending out the prerequisites prior to a merit badge starting? So that way scouts, when they take the merit badge and they attend base camp days, they can actually be able to get a completed merit badge? So
for base camp days, that we can work on posting those in whatever the program is for that day. When I teach something online, I prefer to not have, unless it's things like in emergency prep or e-prep merit badge, they have to have first aid merit badge ahead of time. So I prefer to not have kids work on the badge ahead of time because sometimes they don't really understand the requirement. So I would prefer the homework model versus the prereq model. But like e-prep, sure, you could show up and show me your merit badge and I can check that one off.
And I know you just started, so some of these things you probably haven't even been able to totally get your hands around. But I know one of the things I introduced tonight was around the Cub Scout Adventures. And so any ideas to some of what things that you maybe are thinking about offering?
Online or in person?
In person.
So, yep. So everything, like I talked about with the program that we're running for January and February, will tie back to some portion of a Cub Scout adventure. The part we need to get good at is letting you know how it ties in and what the intention is. And like you said, John, I did just start. I officially started on January 4th, but I did start working with everybody back in December.
It's January 20th.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. I appreciate you coming up here and all your knowledge and expertise. So thank you.
No, I know you're kidding. It's all good. So we will work on building a better system so that what can be achieved in person for Cub Scout Adventures will be put out there, like will be promoted.
Got it. One of the other questions was you had put out a post on staff. And
yes.
What are you looking at in terms of an ideal staffing plan? Will it include a mix of older youth and scouting adult volunteers?
Yes, all of the above. So I really actually enjoy hiring young kids, middle-aged kids, young kids, older scouts, and having volunteers, adult volunteers as well. I think that we are all, as a kind of personal perspective on life, we are all learning. And so I love getting to work with a 15-year-old who makes a giant oopsie and saying, all right, it was a mistake, let's move forward. And this is how we can do it different. So yes, we are definitely looking to hire people of all age ranges, adult volunteers. We will work with you to make sure that there's some incentive there for you as well. I know that we all do this because we love it, but I want to appreciate you. and I want you to know that I appreciate you. And so I will be working with the council staff to figure out the best way to know that you're appreciated.
Derek, there's a couple of questions here related to the adventure card, and I don't know if you want to tackle those.
Sure. So one of the questions I think was, where can we sign up for the adventure card? Starting February 1st, you will be able to go to experiencebasecamp.org, and there will be a link there to purchase your adventure card. And additionally, at experiencebasecamp.org is where you will see the program descriptions for all of the program offerings that Allison has been talking about. And that website will be extremely dynamic. So as programs are added and new things happen, that website will be updated regularly with all of that information. And once you create an account there, we will keep you up to date with everything that is happening for Basecamp. One thing that I'm not sure that we shared or communicated very well was we are doing this in a partnership with both Spirit of Adventure Council and Narragansett Council. So there are 2 other Basecamp locations that are either on board or coming on board as we are. One is in Cranston, Rhode Island, and the other one is New England Basecamp in Milton. When you hold an adventure card, your privileges will be reciprocal to each of the 3 base camps. So there will be some free programming in Milton and in Rhode Island that you can participate in, as well as their families can participate in things in New Hampshire. And additionally, you'll have the opportunity to take advantage of discounts at other base camp programs. Each of the base camps will be offering some of the similar programming or same programming schedule, as well as we each have some unique things that we'll be able to do that others cannot. Allison talked about ice skating and ice fishing and ice climbing and a lot of winter weather kinds of things, which we can do a whole lot better in New Hampshire than they can in Rhode Island. So there will be a lot of back and forth things. So again, all of those kinds of programs will be part of the experiencebasecamp.org website that you can take advantage of and watch there. There will be email communication coming out with the specific details and benefits of the adventure card and a link there so that you can go right to the landing page for buying the adventure card.
And the adventure card is just, it's not a family card, it's an individual scout card, right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Let's see. One of the questions has come up oh, Allison, do you want to go ahead and answer the non-scout versus scout question that was popped up there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm sorry to hear that you had a difficult time in Milton. That was the camp that I was the director for, not this past summer though. So non-scouts and scouts are not separated. The reason they aren't separated is because we use all of those aims and methods from day one. They walk in, and everybody learns about the flag ceremony and why it's important. We talk about the law, we talk about the oath and why that's important. And then whether or not a scout, a child is looking to work on Cub Scout advancement or advancement in general, what we are offering is fun and interesting. And so if you're a scout, then great, you've met those requirements. And if you are not, then you just had a great day and maybe now you want to be a scout, or a great week, depending on the way that you're looking at camp. So we don't keep them separate, because what happens is when the non-scouts are able to see how scouts are expected to behave, it helps to build that camaraderie, just like when a new kid comes into a pack or a den.
Right. So another one is will there be a carpenter base camp at home again?
So I saw that question and I don't have an answer for you yet.
So I think a lot of that, I mean, that was the summer camp program that we ran. And I know there's a couple of people, we're not going to get in depth tonight with respect to summer camp. And Phil Donovan, who's our camping chair for the council, is on. And so, you know, one of the things it would be is if for some reason we can't operate this summer, then yeah, we certainly would put in a base camp at home again program like we did last year. So, and I'm just going to divert real quick because there is a couple of questions on summer camp and Phil. So, you know, one of the questions is what conditions would lead to having summer camp shut down? And, you know, do you want to just give a quick answer on that?
Yeah, real briefly, what we are planning right now to hold summer camp in all its glory. There is some planning going on that will allow us to run maybe an abbreviated summer program. Maybe we run camp with abbreviated programming inside of our regular sessions. Camp may look different than it has in the past. So right now we're planning on opening our camps. I'm confident that we can do that, but we are making contingency plans in case that conditions with COVID don't allow us to do that. It's really early. I feel like I'm in Groundhog Day because last year at this time we were having the same conversations and it didn't end well. Unfortunately, we're hoping for a better outcome this year. So depending on how quickly certainly the vaccines get out and the state guidelines will assist us as they're being developed. We're monitoring those closely. We had a conversation about them just today. So we're looking at it very closely and we're developing plans for every contingency. So again, we are right now planning to hold summer camp, and as that changes, we'll keep you informed. I know a couple of people have asked tonight if we were going to get into detail on summer camps. As you've just noticed, we had a lot of material to cover tonight, so we didn't get into a lot of detail about camp, but we've been holding meetings with both camp directors, Drew Rudlewski and Mark Hamill, on a monthly basis, and those will continue. So if you're looking for more information and you want to talk directly to the camp directors, that will be available. So there'll be another one upcoming in February. And in the meantime, if you do have questions, you can just send them into the camping department and we'll make sure you get specific answers. We're still working on a lot of the pricing components. There's some mysteries out there that we don't quite understand yet in terms of COVID protocols and whatnot and budgetary issues. So we're working on that. We should be setting the camp fees soon, and we're doing everything that we possibly can to make those affordable for people. As you heard some of the incentives tonight, I'm pretty confident we can do that. So that's camping in a nutshell. I don't want to take down a lot of time because there's still a lot of questions to answer on some other things. But if you want to just jot something down in the Q&A, maybe we can answer your specific questions real quickly tonight.
So Allison, with respect to Granite Base Camp and for some of these January day events that are currently scheduled to take place, is the parent required to stay with the scout for the day, or is it a drop off and pickup type event?
Yep. So just like for a den meeting, you are expected to be at camp with your scout. Also currently, in general moving forward, but we want you there not just because of their age, but as John said, this is the village, or this is a way to build the village we don't have anymore. And so we want you to participate too. So just like your bear scout might be learning, it might be doing a bear goes fishing when they're out ice fishing. We want you there to learn and experience it too. But we also want you to go shoot archery and to compare your shots and compare your ability to hit that target or not. So parents would need to stay. There was also one other question I wanted to speak to while I'm here.
COVID quarantine of camp?
Yep. And so, as I said earlier, we have an 80% limit on the property currently. I will limit weekend programming to 60 to 65. so that there's room for staff on the property at this time. Because of how big the property is, because we have so much space, we'll just spread everybody out. And obviously everyone will have to wear a mask. You'll do the same waiver that you do for your unit to participate in events, and we'll take your temperature as you come in. Also, you'll need to be pre-registered just to make sure that we're not going over the numbers.
Great. Another question with respect to merit badges, and which is how do you handle too deep leadership for an online merit badge?
Yep. So I'm never alone on a badge. I have there are 25 kids there. And so I'm never alone with a kiddo. For example, today I had a kid I needed to address something with, and I wanted to address it with a parent for a couple of reasons. One, everybody was saying goodbye and they were disappearing. And so I was concerned about being alone on that badge with this one kid as everyone said goodbye. So I asked him to go get a grown-up, and then we had a conversation with his grown-up there. If there comes a point where kids are saying goodbye, I will end the call so that I'm never alone. And they've already got my email by then, and we talk about youth protection and use of my email in that time. So they're able to reach out to me outside of the call.
Great. What's the cost for the January Day event?
Right now they're $20. Yeah, $20. And then once we can get adventure cards to you, they would be free.
Let's see, can you re-answer the drop-off question? Somebody needs clarification again on the drop-off question. Are parents required to stay, or is it like a den meeting?
Nope, parents are required to stay if are all around. If a Scouts BSA unit is choosing to come as a unit and they have their 2 leaders, that's acceptable. But Cub Scout parents are required to stay. Similarly, that Webelos can meet as a den with their 2 leaders, that's acceptable. But what I am providing program staff, I am not providing staff that are going to lead them through what the opportunities are. It's kind of like an open house feel. And so I cannot say that your child would be supervised without you there.
Great. One more question just popped up. Can families cross state lines with respect to COVID rules? In the state of New Hampshire, the answer is there is no current restriction on that. So the question is, depends upon if you're crossing, say, from Maine, does Maine allow it? Does Massachusetts allow it? And so that's the considerations that I think you may have to think about. So local rules kind of play a role in terms of how that works. So, oops. Parents for BSA as well, 16 to 17-year-olds. So if there's a day event, does a parent have to stay with a 16, 17-year-old?
No.
All right. Okay, I think we just.
But honestly, I'd rather hire them. Let's be honest. I would like to hire all of the 16 and 17-year-olds.
Yeah. There may be entry restrictions into Massachusetts. Okay. All right, I don't see any additional questions that are up here. So if anybody does have a question that's burning that you want answered, go ahead and answer it now, ask it now. If anybody has COVID-19 restrictions with respect to Daniel Webster Council, I'm going to suggest that you guys send an email to communications@newhampshirescouting.org. That will get reviewed and sent off to the appropriate person to answer. We have provided a lot of guidance. So there's a lot of stuff up there for you guys, and we really want you guys out there and operating in a safe environment and being smart about it.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
So if people are asking about how kids can get hired, they can, on our social media channels today, I posted my email address saying that I was hiring. So they can send an email to me letting me know that they'd like to talk to me about working at base camp.
Okay.
And I'll put my email in the chat. And I'm sure Tyler is going to say, you can use support@newhampshirescouting.org too.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything else coming through. Is John, okay, somebody, John Rainville, the contact person for FOS?
For the community FOS, you can contact me or John, and we will help you out. Each district should have an FOS point person as well that you can talk to.
And Chris, do you want to give us an update on how our pledges are going tonight?
I would love to. So tonight, I want to thank everyone who participated in kicking off our 2021 FOS year. Between pledges and gifts tonight, we have raised 3 cents shy of $10,600. So good job, everybody.
Nice. Nice.
Awesome. Well, Allison, Derek, hearing all that information was great. And I'm sure all the units and the unit leaders got a lot out of that. Any final comments from anyone on the presenters?
No, I mean, the only thing I want to emphasize with all the units out there is that if you have a question, don't be afraid to ask the question. I'm very responsive. I don't mind. I'll type in my personal email address. You're more than welcome to send me an email, and I will work on getting you an answer as quick as I possibly can. So, but the main thing is I want to thank the units really for being out there and being active with the youth, because it's a result of your commitment to the program and the commitment to these youth that it allows us to have I wish more scouts stayed in scouting, to be honest with you, at this past pre-charter season. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But I know that there are some units out there that are working really, really hard, and I want to thank them for that. Michael, you're on mute.
You're muted.
Thanks, John. Thank all of the presenters tonight. I think that the information you presented was great, and you all did a great job. And also thank you for all the participants here tonight. I think we had a really good turnout to get this information. And if you, as John said, have any other questions, please reach out to either us directly or to the support link or the help desk, and we will be happy to get back to you. I will attest that John Rico will get back to you at any time of day. He is awesome at getting back to his emails too. So.
I don't sleep.
But thank you all for coming tonight. We really appreciate it, and we'll keep you posted on any future roundtables and presentations we will be having. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.